जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारे। जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारे। गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवर धारे। गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवर धारे। यशोदनंदना व्रज जनरंजना। 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 यमुनते रावणाचारे। यमुनते रावणाचारे। यमुनाते रावणाचारे। जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारे। जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारे। गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवर धारे। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवर धारे। यशोदनंदना व्रज जनरंजना। यशोदनंदना व्रज जनरंजना। यशोदनंदना व्रज जनरंजना। यशोदानंदन व्रज जननंदना। यमुनते रावणाचारे। यमुनते रावणाचारे। जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारे।
जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारे। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना। यमुनातीरावनचारे
जय राधा कृष्ण चंद्र राधा कृष्ण चंद्र राधे
जय राधा कृष्ण चंद्र राधा कृष्ण चंद्र राधा
जय निताय गौरंग जय निताय गौरंग
जय निताय गौरंग जय निताय गौरंग निताय गौरंग जय निताय गौरंग
जय प्रहलाद सिंह जय प्रहलाद सिंह जय प्रहलाद सिंह
जय प्रहलाद नरसिंह जय प्रहलाद नरसिंह प्रहलाद नरसिंह जय प्रहलाद नरसिंह
जय प्रभुपाद
जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 प्रभुपाद
जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सदसि हरिवान कृष्ण भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवत्युत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैस्तिकी. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, chapter number 14, text number 20. Yam ashritya indriya aratin Yam ashritya indriyan yaratin Yamashrityendriyayaratin Durjayan ita rashramaihi Durjayan itarashramaihi Durjayan itarashramaihi Vayam jayema helabhi Vayam jayema helabhi Vayam jayema helabhi Dasyun Durga Pati Yata Dasyon Durgapathir Yatha Dasyon Durgapathir Yatha Yam Ashrityendriyaratin Durjayam Yitarashramaihi Vayam Jayemahe Labhi Dasyan Durgapatir Yatha Yam Ashitendriya Rathin Durjayam Itarashramaihi vayam jayemahe labhi dhyashyam durgapathir Jam ashitendriya ratim durjayam itarashamaihi vayam jaye mahe labhi dashyam durgapathir yam ashitendriya ratim durjayan itarashamaihi vayam jaye mahe labhi dasyam durgapathir yam asityendriyarati durjayan itarashamaihi vayam jaye mahe labhi dasyam durgapathir yam ashitendriyaratim durjayan itarashamaihi vayam jaye mahe labhi dasyo durgapathir Yemashityaindriyaritin Durjayanidharashamaihi Vayam Jayemahe Labhi Nityam Durgapathir Yatha. Word meaning? Jam, whom? Ashritya, taking shelter of. Indriya, senses. Aratin, enemies. Durjayan, difficult to conquer. Itara, other than the household. Ashramaihi, by order of society. Vayam, we. Jayema, can conquer. Helabhihi, easily. Dasyun, invading plunderers. Durgapatihi, a port commander. Yatha, as. Translation and purport by Srimad Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation: as a fort commander very easily conquers invading plunderers by taking shelter of a wife, one can conquer the senses which are unconquerable in the other social orders. Translation with repetition: as a fort commander very easily conquers invading plunderers by taking shelter of a wife, one can conquer the senses which are unconquerable in the other social orders. Purport: of the four orders of human society, the student or the brahmachari order, the householder, the grihastha order, the retired or vanaprastha order, and the renounced or sannyasi order. The householder is on the safe side. The bodily senses are considered plunders of the fort of the body. The wife is supposed to be the commander of the fort, and therefore, whenever there is an attack on the body by the senses, it is the wife who protects the body from being smashed. The sex demand is inevitable for everyone. But one who has a fixed wife is saved from the onslaught of the sense enemies. A man who possesses a good wife does not create a disturbance in society by corrupting virgin girls. Without a fixed wife, a man becomes debauchee of the first order and is a nuisance in society. Unless he is a trained brahmachari, vanaprastha, or sannyasi, unless there is a rigid and systematic training of brahmachari by the expert spiritual master, and unless the student is obedient, it is sure that the so-called brahmachari is fall prey to the attack of sex. There are so many instances of fall down. Even the great yogis like Vishwamitra, the Grihastha is saved, however, because of his beautiful wife. Sex life is the cause of material bondage, and therefore it is prohibited in three ashramas and is allowed only in the Grihastha ashram. The Grihastha is responsible for producing first quality brahmacharis, vanaprasthas, and sannyasis. The sense of Bhaktivedanta purport. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः नमा ॐ विष्णुवाधाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी माश्यातिदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. The chapter Pregnancy of Diti in the evening. We have earlier discussed about the Diti. They approach him, Kashyapa Muni, her husband, to have sex to beget children. So, with humble request, Diti put forward her desire to the Kashyapa Muni, and Kashyapa Muni is one of the Prajapati, and he accepted her desire, and Kashyapa Muni also justify her desire. So that what Kashyapa Muni speaks here. Whatever her desire was authorized. So that's the reason he was telling here. O respectful one, a wife is helpful that she is called the better half of a man's body because of her sharing in all auspicious activities. A man can move without anxiety, entrusting all responsibility to her. A wife is there. She has given the responsibility, and he can share the responsibility. So that for a husband it is helpful. So that is the reason a wife is called better half of a man's body, ardhangi. So furthermore, Kashyapa Muni say A wife is like a fort commander. A comparison. If a fort commander who gives the protection to the king, so any plunderers or any enemies comes, and fort commander give the protection from those enemies to the king. Similarly, that comparison is given here. A wife is like a fort commander. Here is comparing the enemies are the senses. Senses are unconquerable. Here, Kashyap Muni is saying, as a fort commander very easily conquers the invading plunderers, by taking shelter of a wife, one can conquer the senses, which are unconquerable in other social orders. So, Jaya Kashyap Muni say he is very safe because wife is a protector, because in other orders, in Brahmachari, Vanaprastha and Sannyasa order, renounced order, controlling the senses is the more difficult task for them, because I can control my senses because wife, she can give the protection. How? Because the senses mean the here particularly talks about, because the Diti is asking for the sex desire. So particularly controlling the senses here, say the controlling the senses of sex urge. Otherwise, even brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, other senses is not the problem. So that is the reason Kashyap Muni say, so I am safe because I can urge of sex desire I can enjoy, so I can control in the sense I can enjoy. So because grihastha have the permission for the sex life, so that problem of sense trouble is not there. For him, the sense trouble is not there. And this is more difficult to conquer. This is, I say, unconquerable. The fact also, because this body is designed in such a way that in a particular age, the sex desires are generally provoked. For that, there is no any need of any training, or we have to get some knowledge from somewhere, even in animal life. So, because there is a part of the life, reproduction, Vamshabhiruddhi. So that is the reason sex is a part of the life. So that is automatically provoked when a certain age is reached. So, doesn't matter a brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha or sannyasa. This desire will provoke because as far as the senses are there. So here Kashyapa is feeling safe because wife is there, that sex desire will be fulfilled, so that there is no more trouble, which is more difficult to control. That means, here Prabhupada say, that means for everyone is difficult to control. No one is controlling, or someone in our grihasthas or not have any problem. No, it is not like that actually. Generally we think like that, okay, Here is very clearly is mentioned here. Prabhupada is telling the four orders of human society, the students, brahmachari order, householder, grihastha order, are retired, vanaprastha, and renounced the sannyasi order. The householder is on the safe side. The bodily senses are considered as plunderers of the fort of the body. The wife is supposed to be commander of the fort, and therefore, whenever there is an attack of the body by your senses, it is the wife who protects the body from being smashed. The sex demand is inevitable for everyone, but one who has fixed wife is saved from the onslaught of the sense enemies. When is fixed wife, now here the fixed wife mean, generally we think okay, once married then there is no sex desire. It's not like that. Generally there is a law of diminishing utility. So anything you utilize, you lose the taste for that, and some other taste will develop. So it's not that okay, grihastha is not have any desire of sex. I heard many of the people in many article even says. So you look for a new taste, so that he can the generally say okay, brahmachari may think okay, grihastha life is a better option if I am not able to control the sex urge. Even in the grihastha life also these difficulties are there. That's the reason you say a man who is supposed to have a good wife does not create a disturbance in the society, corrupting the virgin girls. That means in this age is not happening. There are many hearing from the who are working in companies in metro cities. The man had the many relationship other than his even married person. So that means the control of the sex is not having the wife. If you have the wife, those you have the control of the sex. Furthermore, Prabhupada say if a person is trained from a bona fide spiritual master, a qualified spiritual master, then such person able to control. It's not for all the grihasthas not have problem. Problem is not there. Even in brahmachari life or in grihastha life or sannyasa life, in all this life there is no problem when he is properly trained from a bona fide spiritual master. Otherwise, even in the grihastha life there is a problem. Someone not knowing the religious principles. That was happening in Western countries. So what is the wrong? If both are like, then where is the wrong? Doing all this. So it says that okay, if both are in agree, then something is doing is not wrong. But there is reality here is Prabhupada telling, corrupting the virgin girls. You see, if the good wife does not create a disturbance in the society by corrupting the virgin girls. If a good wife, he gives the proper satisfaction to the grihastha, and he will be very faithful to that one wife. And you never look for any women other than this married wife. So that there is no corrupting the virgin girls. Today is a common thing. This is we see in the society. The people have the sexual relationship before the marriage, and they think that it is nothing wrong in it. So in ancient culture, the brahmachari, the student's life itself is properly trained under the bona fide spiritual master, so that You know the what is religious principles. Because a person is not have any religious principles or values in life, then such person will be corrupting the society. All this way mean uncontrolled sense gratification. So here Kashyapa Muni is justifying what is the desire is correct. And again, approach of the Diti is not proper, but is untimely. She was overwhelmed with distress, that is different, but she is approaching not in the right time. But for that, Kashyapa Muni is supporting. The same situation where in Bhagavata there is Narada Muni is giving the instruction to Yudhishthira Maharaj. Yudhishthira Maharaj elaborately discuss about these different ashrama life. How a brahmachari should be, how a grihastha, vanaprastha should be, how a sannyasi, elaborately explain. After explaining all this, he explained, okay, brahmachari, he explains vanaprastha, he explains sannyasa. Then Yudhishthira Maharaj asked Narada Muni. When Yudhishthira Maharaj asked Narada Muni, he now say that, okay, he is a grihastha person. But he say, I am a mudha. I am a low class man. I indulge in this married life. How can a married person, grihastha person, elevate spiritually? So Yudhishthira Maharaj is not justified. Okay, one is grihastha life is very nice. So this what will understand the devotees feel and thinks, and a common other man is feel think. Yudhishthira Maharaj inquires like this. Because even in other places also, we hear in the Bhagavatam, Priyavrata, his father is forced him to get married and lead a married life. Even though he not like. And Brahma is instructing the Priyavrata. So there is nothing wrong. It has a Varnashrama Dharma system, Grihastha life also very valid. And Priyavrata has enjoyed the Grihastha life, after enjoying the Grihastha life, and he is distressed. What I did a wrong thing by entering a Grihastha life. So in totality, I am not telling that if Grihastha life is vanity in the case of Yudhishthira otherwise. Even in Priyavrata's life. But Kashyapa Muni is justifying what is approach is correct. But a spiritually elevated person never appreciate in this way. Because the answer to the question of the Narada Muni, Yudhishthira Maharaj to Narada, Narada reply, okay, his reply is like, so Yudhishthira is asking like, Maharaj Yudhishthira inquired from the Narada Muni, Grasta etan padavin vidhina yena chanjasa jayadeva harshe bruhi mudadrusho madrusho gruha mudadhihi. O my Lord, O great sage, kindly explain how we who are staying at home without knowledge of the goal of life, may also easily attain liberation according to the instruction of the Vedas. And another replies like, Griheshwa avastito rajan kriyaha kurvan yatha uchitaha vasudevarpanam sakshat upasit mahamuni. Narada Muni say, my dear king, those who stay at home as a householder must act to earn their livelihood. And instead of trying to enjoy the result of their work themselves, they should offer this result to Krishna, Vasudeva. How to satisfy Vasudeva in this life can be perfectly understood through the association of great devotees of the Lord. The Grihastha should associate with the Mahamuni, great sages, saintly people, to elevate himself spiritually. And Kashyapa Muni says, okay, living in the wife and I conquer able my senses, so it's a safe place. But Narada Muni says, okay, it's a safe place. Okay, Yudhishthira, you are in the safer place, no need. So Narada Muni says, no, you should do Vasudeva Parayana. You should worship Vasudeva. How? In association of great devotees. So how much after taking care of your livelihood, rest of the time you should engage in Vasudeva Parayana, not enjoy. Srinvan Bhagavato Bhikshanam Avatara Kathanmritam Shraddhadhano Yatha Kalam Upasnato Janavrithaha Satsanga Chanakhehi Sangam Atma Jayatma Jadishu Vimunchen Mucha Maneshu Swayam Swapnavad Udhitaha. A grihastha must associate again and again with the saintly person, and with great respect he must hear the nectar of the activities of the Supreme Lord and his incarnations. As these activities are described in the Srimad Bhagavatam and other Puranas, thus one should gradually become detached from affection for his wife. You see, one should detach from his wife and children exactly like a man awakening from a dream. So, one should give up the attachment. This is the instruction of Narada Muni. So, the understanding a proper spiritual man and understanding of who is not spiritually elevated is totally different. So, how the Narada Munis deny and how one should engage, and finally in the Krishna service and Krishna Katha Shravana, and finally give up the family life, wife and children. Like this Rasa life is like a dream, not reality. Awakening from a dream. So, dream will give any value? So, many things we see in the dream. So, morning and I will forget the dream, we don't give any value. Similarly, whatever the family affection relationship is like a dream. Okay, happened. No more connection. Nothing to glorify. Like how Priyavrata, not glorified, he is distressed. Yudhishthira Maharaj is telling, I am Mudha, Aviveki, and enter into this life and spend so much of time without Krishna Parayana, Vasudeva Parayana, remembering Lord. Because, why he say? Because Grihastha life means so many responsibilities which are not directly connected to the Krishna. Family, children, relatives, how Rishabhadeva explains. How Prahlad Maharaj explains. So, So anyone is a spiritually elevated or who understood the spiritual science, for them, the appreciating the family life is not actually good. Because the desire for the sex is in Rajoguna. It's not the Sattva-guna. Any spiritual practice want to come to the Sattva-guna platform. Sex desire is a symptom of Rajoguna. Because Rajoguna, sex appears when a person becomes more Rajasic in nature. That's the reason it is not favorable for the spiritual practices. So one is serious in spiritual practices. And again, these all the things are we thinking the disturbance, but this one is properly engaged in the devotional service under the guidance of spiritual master. Not at all difficult. Because the most important, when a person is not properly not matured in spiritual life, or you not develop the taste for Krishna Katha, then one should engage in Krishna services. There should not be any spare time for to think something else. Once a person is properly Krishna conscious, meaning you develop the taste for Krishna Katha, and always you remembering that what Narada Muni is telling, he continued all the time hearing the Krishna or glorifying Krishna will happen in elevated devotees. For the neophyte devotees, it is no possible for him to all the time enjoying the Krishna Katha. In such cases, when engage in the Krishna services continue, no spare time to think anything else. Whenever there is spare time, all these sense gratification things come into picture. The mind is such a thing, is always thinking, contemplating on something else. If nothing is to contemplate, so we have so many engagement for our services. The mind will contemplate on the services. His mind is not given any services properly. Then same mind will engage in the sense gratification things. The most powerful sense gratification, particularly in youth, young age, the sex desires. And enjoyable also. It gives the taste. Thinking, contemplating on a sex desire, and gives kind of taste. So, how to protect? Not exactly, here Kashyapa Muni is telling, because in his cases he's telling, generally, some free from, for example, a person is not properly trained from a bona fide spiritual master. For him to control the sexes is very difficult, so he may indulge in outside. For such people, it's good to be grihastha ashram, and so that he is free from that trouble. But who is acting under the guidance of spiritual master, for him this trouble is not there. Because he already gentleman. Gentleman's behavior is Paradharan Matruvas, any other woman than his own wife. Look as a mother. So, conclusion here is that, for a spiritual, when a devotee is like Yudhishthira, otherwise, not that, for him is a grihastha life, that's the reason he is able to control. No, otherwise also able to control. This is Arjuna's example. When Urvashi approached Arjuna, Arjuna is not interested. She given her the mother's position. No, you are like mother. So a spiritual man always have a sense in doing everything. He is sensitive to the things. But to come to the proper sensitive, so one should be serious in the spiritual practices by studying, practicing, hearing, all the devotional practices. Okay, I'll stop here. Anyone have questions? Yeah.
Why great personalities accepted Grihastha life, even though it is a life of
say that not very much appreciable. Then why they accepted like Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj? How could they?
So, in Dhruva's case, some of the personalities, even you take the example of the Priyavrata don't want to take. But why Brahma is telling as a duty. So your duty to rule the kingdom. So king cannot be a brahmachari. Brahmachari cannot become it is not allowed. A Kshatriya to rule, he have next progeny so that will take over the country to further to progress. So as a duty someone is taking, even the king is another devata. So as a duty someone is marrying, okay, beget a good children, and he'll be dharmic. Then he also engage all the citizens of the country in dharmic activities. It is like, okay, brahmachari is preaching the Krishna consciousness. Same thing, Grihastha is engaging, making the people dharmic, keep the law and order in the country, and helping everyone to elevate spiritually. Nothing wrong. Even Yudhishthira Maharaj's case, Dhruva Maharaj's case also, he was a Kshatriya. Doesn't mean that, okay, born in a Kshatriya family cannot. That are examples also we have seen. Rishabhadeva's children become Brahmanas. And again, every individual's choice. But not whimsically someone is become. Okay, then there is a responsibility. If you see the history of the Vedic literature, the great personalities, there is a reason behind whatever they taken up the Grihastha life in great personalities. Otherwise, no, because of controlling the sex, I have to get married. No, that's not the reason. In great personalities. Because there is a purpose, okay. Because that's the reason they're great personalities. Not conquering the sex is difficult. Such a person cannot be great person normally. And even in kings they marry, give the shelter to the women also the responsibility. In ancient culture, women must be married. So a king can marry many wives to give the shelter to the women, not for the sex enjoyment. If you take Krishna himself is given set the example for this. So there are many reasons. And again, after taken up the Grihastha life also, they properly executed their duties. They're not lost. Okay, once the 50 years of Grihastha life, they properly retired from the family life. Take the example of Bharat Maharaj. 50 years of, he retired. So nothing wrong. Okay, if a person is properly situated in Grihastha life in Vasudeva Parayana, and he also elevated, then he will go to Vanaprastha, Sannyasa, all this order he can take up. Nothing wrong, if you see. But Kali Yuga is different compared to those personalities. The proper Varnashra Dharma is totally designed for the spiritual practices. But in Kali Yuga there is no Varnashram Dharma. We cannot take that is ideal is even for the Kali Yuga also. We cannot say. Very difficult. And our entanglement in Grihastha life, what is entanglement in the in other yugas are totally different. We think that, okay, Grihastha think, okay, as Kashyapa Muni also is telling you, okay, Grihastha is the support for other three Varnas. So the Grihastha is thinking, okay, without us, how the Brahmacharis, all these people will live. So the Krishna will take care. There is no understanding. Here Kashyapa see, like, because they are support for the other three Varnas. And devotees don't say that, okay, Grihasthas are there, that's what you depend on Grihasthas. Krishna is serving. Krishna is providing everything. clear? Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.